Hey ladies and gents, welcome back. This is going to be part 4 to What If Naruto Was a Demon Lord. So, make sure to like and subscribe. There's actually not going to be a like all in this video, just like, with the other parts. Just do it. Because why not? I'll leave a link to my Discord in the description below, and with that being said, let's do a brief recap of what actually happened in the last part of the What If. So basically, Naruto and Hinata went off and went to find this island. They acted a little bit like Dora the Explorer, and they decided to go over there. There at this island, they found out it was actually kind of like a demon tavern with a massive flaming skull as the actual building itself that the tavern was in. So they went there and they found out that there is actually an underworld, a hellscape, so to say. And they found out that there's another demon lord that rests below there, making it so that Naruto's basically perception that there was only two demon lords and one of them was him at this point was actually wrong. There's actually three. So they end up returning back to their island and going back up to their castle. So with that being said, let's just get into the new material of the What If. So Naruto would make a shadow clone, and he'd basically tell it to stay at the castle. And Hinata asks Naruto where exactly he's going, and Naruto basically tells her, I'm gonna go visit one of the other demon lords. I'm going to leave a shadow clone here with you just to make sure you stay safe, but I'm going to go, visit another demon lord. Hinata obviously wouldn't really want Naruto to do this, but she can't really stop him because Naruto's overpowered. So basically, Naruto would end up leaving. He'd basically start running over towards the other demon lord, which is basically on the complete opposite side of the world at this point. So Naruto running over there, and Hinata would be staying back at her little thing. Naruto would sprout his wings, because he can do that, and he'd start flying over in that direction. I don't know why I said running originally, but he'd start flying over there at pretty freaking insane speeds. So it would only take Naruto about 10 hours to get completely across the world, and there he'd see it. It's another island, similar to his own, and again with a large castle on it. He's wondering, why exactly is it pretty much the same thing? Who made these? Did the demon lords make these? Did somebody make these for the demon lords? He's trying to figure out exactly why that is. So Naruto would jump down and he'd land on the island, basically taking in the wings, or pulling his wings back into his body, however you want to put it. He lands on the balcony. Now he's looking around, and then he walks into the castle, which he notices is literally almost exactly the same as his. He walks over and yep, the bedroom's over there. There's the bathroom there. And he walks downstairs, finds the kitchen. And Naruto knows exactly where everything is. But he doesn't see anybody here. He doesn't even sense anybody here. He's wondering why that is. And then he feels something behind him. Something touches back. And he turns around and he sees the other demon lord. He is kind of wondering. He hasn't actually looked at them yet, but he's kind of wondering, why? Wasn't I able to sense their presence? And they basically start speaking to Naruto now. So basically speaking, this person is a female. And Naruto turns around. He's really surprised to hear the voice, and he turns around, almost immediately turns around and sees this demon lord. And he's like, what? I wasn't expecting you to be a female. And Naruto's obviously a little bit surprised by this. And the girl starts talking. He's like, what's so surprising about it? So, she senses the demon lord inside of Naruto, and she's like, so, you must have absorbed the Crow Man, the demon lord guy from over there. And Naruto's like, you can kind of say that. I didn't really absorb him as much as he kind of forcefully shoved himself into me, but yeah. And, she's like, oh, interesting. Then she starts looking up Naruto's body. Starts looking at Naruto, and Naruto's like, he gets a little uncomfortable. He's wondering what exactly she's looking at. What is she doing? And then she walks forward. And she holds her hand out, and Naruto's like, what? Thinking she's going in for some kind of handshake or something, Naruto would hold his hand out as well, expecting some kind of handshake, but then she just shoves right past Naruto's hand and starts touching his body in a weird way. And Naruto's like, whoa there, chick, what are you doing? And she's like, well, I wasn't expecting you to be such a fine piece of man meat. And she's like, and Naruto at this point is feeling absurdly uncomfortable. He doesn't know what he's supposed to do in this situation. This is a demon lord who would be similar to his own power, if not above that. He doesn't know if he has the ability to stop them from doing this if they really wanted to. Naruto just kind of was like, he's just standing there awkwardly in the room as this girl starts touching him in weird ways that Naruto wasn't actually expecting to be touched in. So basically, Naruto would be starting to feel more and more uncomfortable before backing up a step. Basically holding up his hands as like a show of like, whoa, I never said this, I do not consent. And she basically was just like, you really think I care if you like what you care about, my guy? Like, come on, I'm a demon lord, and you're kind of just technically you're a demon lord, but you're just kind of an imposter. Like, you're not actually a demon lord at this point, dude. Like, I can do what the fuck I want to you, and you can't really stop me. And Naruto's like, well, I mean, you're not wrong, but yeah, like, I'm pretty strong too. Like, I don't know about that, chief. Like, I'm pretty strong, dude. And she's like, okay, would you like to try your best to defeat me? And Naruto's like, yeah, I actually would. She says it. Well, if I win, you have to become my husband. And Naruto's like, well, okay, I'll win anyway, so doesn't matter. So Naruto's like, okay, whatever, that's fine. I'm gonna win, so I don't have to worry about this anymore. So they begin their little like battle. They go out and they go onto the water, not wanting to deal any like, lateral damage to the actual castle itself. And they begin their fight, both of them sprouting their wings and charging at each other. Naruto almost immediately notices that she's much faster than him, and he has a much harder time reacting to her attacks than she would to him. Naruto's punches aren't as powerful, and all around, she has a pretty massive advantage in this battle. She notices this and starts laughing as she's fighting, taking it less and less seriously. Naruto starts to get angry, starts to get mad. His eyes turn red. He gets a little bit more powerful, but it isn't anywhere near enough to actually lessen that gap to an extent where he would actually be able to put up an actual fight against her. As Naruto gets more and more angry, his eyes start changing once again. Instead of to a red color, they slowly start morphing. They slowly turn from red to black. Naruto's eyes, when they fully turn black, he gains a pretty decent power boost. And he starts actually putting up a decent challenge against this woman, and he's like, okay. He's almost completely out of control at this point, and she knows that, and she knows that if he completely loses control, things could get very bad. Unless she has these transformation too, which she does because she's a demon lord. So she activates her little black-eyed mode like Naruto just did, and she once again gains a massive edge over Naruto. And she starts talking to Naruto. She's like, I'm impressed that you're able to control yourself in such a high-ranking form. I only have one form above this that I can barely control. Other than that, I will lose control of myself. And Naruto's like, he's having real difficulty actually like keeping control of himself at this point. He's huffing and puffing and everything like that. Not from the fight itself, just from trying to keep in control of this form that he's in. Then he loses it. Naruto completely loses control. His mind completely it just snaps. And the black aura, or this black eye, starts spreading around Naruto's entire body. First to the rest of his face, and then down an arm, and then down his leg, and then down all of Naruto's body is just covered in this black mist, this black aura. And Naruto's wings turn black, instead of being the gray color that they used to be. And Naruto, now looking like a full-fledged demon lord, charges towards the girl, now massively overpowering her. But she also has this form. Transforming into it, she once again gains her edge over Naruto. However, Naruto is completely out of control at this point. He's completely lost it. He begins to power up even further. Naruto, basically at this point, needs to find a way in order to defeat this woman. And Naruto's instincts at this point, because again, Naruto doesn't have any actual amount of control over his body at this point, they go even further. They go even past the current power that Naruto is at, and they start changing once again. The black aura starts getting thicker around Naruto's body, and it almost forms this weird plated armor around him, and its sword appears out of nowhere, with Naruto drawing it from his hip. The girl at this point looks at Naruto and knows that he's completely lost control, knows that she has to end this quickly if she wants to actually have any chance of surviving this, with Naruto killing her. But she's already at her full power, and Naruto is way above her at this point. Naruto, with a clean chop, chops off one of her fingers, with her trying to dodge out of the way, but Naruto still managed to slice just a little bit. The blood gets onto Naruto's face, but the black aura just seems to envelop it, and it completely disappears almost immediately. She's completely on the defensive at this point. Naruto is almost completely decimating her. And Naruto, at this point, is, he's completely out of control. He's completely lost it. Then, Naruto falls over. Falls to the ground as the black aura stops around Naruto's body. He starts seeping back into his body. And when it's revealed, when Naruto's body itself is revealed, a bunch of burn marks and scratches and cuts and everything like that are completely scattered around Naruto's body. Naruto's unconscious, laying there in the middle of the water. He starts to sink. The girl, or the Demon Lord, would walk over. He'd pick him up and take him back to the castle. So, Naruto would wake up. It'd be hours later at this point, and some of his wounds would be healed. Some of the burns would be healed, I guess you could say, due to the Kurama's chakra, along with the Demon Lord chakra, along with Naruto's better regeneration in, the first place. He would regenerate all of these different, all of the different scars and everything like that. When he wakes up, he looks around the room that he's sitting in, and he sees it. He's laying in a bed, wondering what happened. He sits up, and then he sees the girl laying next to him. He's like, oh my. He wasn't expecting that. He doesn't really care too much at this point, because I'm going to say that Naruto's psyche changes a little bit every time he uses more and more of his Demon Lord power. He changes more and more into a Demon Lord as that happens, and basically getting less and less emotion and more not really giving a fuck. So he basically wakes her up, and she wakes up and she's like, oh, good morning. And Naruto's like, how long has it been? What happened? What happened in the fight? She explains what happened. Naruto lost control and entered the mode that she's never even seen before. She's never seen such a powerful form from a Demon Lord before. And Naruto's like, oh, I'm not sure what happened. He doesn't remember anything that happened after he entered the black-eyed state, I guess you could say. And she's like, yeah, well, that kind of makes sense. And Naruto at this point, like I said, he's less like himself and more like the Demon Lord due to using the Demon Lord's power. So Naruto at this point, he doesn't really care what the girl does to him, and she starts touching him again. And Naruto's like, whatever, I'll let it happen this time. But first, what exactly is your name? You never told me. She tells him, my name is Alice. And Naruto at this point would be like, that's a nice name. Then he lays back down once again, to let Alice do whatever she wanted to him. However, that's where I'm going to leave this part off, because I don't want to go into any more detail with what's about to happen, so I'll see you guys in the next part. Peace out, bye.